Hey everybody, happy Friday. It's basically the weekend. Not done my job, but taking a break from my job and heading home. And I love stopping at places like this. This is the kind of stuff that just fortifies my soul. You know, I've talked about in the past, I'm not going to get into politics in any kind of deep way, but just about how we're so divided in this country, unlike 30 years ago. I think if we got out into places like this more and just talk to each other, watch stuff that wasn't divisive, it doesn't have to be me or this channel. Find stuff that's calming and pleasant. And I watch a whole bunch of people on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of people I follow. And I stay away from the conflict and the division and just looking for something to be angry about. I've seen YouTube clips and stuff where people are so mad and so angry and so worked up. And I just don't see any benefit coming from that. Now, I'm not saying just be passive and let the world pass you by, but there is something to, I don't know, passing on some things. I used to go to bars quite often when I was on the road, just to strike up conversations, have a couple drinks, whether it was sports bar or just talking life, but I never talked religion or politics. And I almost always had a pleasant conversation. There was one exception, one in all the years I went. I remember where I was. It was Manitou Springs, Colorado. If you're familiar, it's in the Colorado Springs area. Beautiful area. I was at this really cool old-timey bar, and I was sitting there, and there was a woman. Sorry, there is a train going by right now. This might get really loud. Hopefully you can hear me over the train. But there was a woman sitting there, and we just kind of started talking small talk, nothing big, how you doing, how's everything, good, I'm just doing a job, blah, blah, blah. And I remember it was near, it probably was an election year, a presidential election year, or it had just happened. That's what it was. It had just happened. And she asked me straight out, so who did you vote for in the election? And I said, I don't talk about politics, especially with people I don't know. I mean, I don't talk politics much with friends. Even friends that I'm aligned with politically. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't want to be rude, but I just don't talk about that. She's like, well, come on, who did you vote for? And I said, I told you, I'm not talking about that. She goes, oh, I know, you voted for blah, blah, blah. I said, if you can believe whatever you want, but I'm not talking about it. And she got so pissed off. I mean, we were just having small talk. It wasn't a big deal. I'm a happily married dude. I wasn't hitting on her. It was nothing like that. And she got so pissed off that she slammed her drink down and moved like 3 seats down, which I was quite happy about because, in my opinion, she was a complete nut job. But that's how far some people will take it, to try to get something out of you, to try to be angry. I'm always looking for trying to be happy, and I'm not all the time. I'm far from that. I have my moments where things are rough, things aren't going well. Yesterday was a long day of work because I needed to get to a certain point before I headed home. And so I worked almost 11 hours straight without a break. And my sprayers kept screwing up. My tips were clogging constantly, and I was very frustrated. Hopefully nobody was too near me because there were some swear words that came out. So I have my moments too, but I really do try when I'm watching things on YouTube, TikTok, whatever, if it's obvious pretty quickly that they're just angry and very political, I scroll past. I just have no interest. And I'm sure I will get a couple of comments here. You're a blah, blah, blah voter, or you're this or you're that. But you know, you can assume whatever you want about me. The only thing I care that people think about me, especially people I care about and know and love, is that I am going to do my best to be a good person and to treat people right. And like I said, I'm not perfect. I fail at times. But the older I get, the better I get at it. I don't, you know, I used to have a really quick temper. And I don't mean like go beat the crap out of somebody temper. Just get frustrated really badly with things. And it would make me miserable for hours. And I've worked my way past that. Thanks a lot to my wife, who is very even-keeled. Somebody cuts her off or somebody does whatever, she'll make up an excuse for them. Oh, they're probably having a rough day, or they're this or they're that, and which is a very endearing trait that I have tried to take on for myself as well, with not the kind of success she's had with it, but you know, I've gotten much better at looking at the good in life. When I get out in places like this, and granted, I-80 is right there, so I'm not really out in nature, but I will be next weekend. We're going camping, big group of friends, taking our fifth wheels and our ATVs, and we're gonna go riding out in the desert in Utah, and I can't wait. I love just escaping, getting away from everything. And our group of friends, which can range on a trip anywhere from 10 to 50 people, nobody ever talks politics. Religion rarely comes up. It's just day-to-day life. You know, what have you been up to? Hanging out, having a beer, talking, or a Coke or a coffee or whatever. That's how I want this to come across. Like, we could just sit down and have a beer. It doesn't have to be a beer. It could be a coffee or a glass of water and just talk. When I picture whoever's watching right now, I picture you right here, and we're just having a nice conversation. And I don't know. I know not everybody has the opportunity to get into places like this. Look at this tree. This tree is amazing. And I know you can't tell the height of that thing by me just scrolling it, but it's freaking enormous. It's very old. It's been here, I don't know, 100, 150, 200 years. And the world just passes by. We'll all be gone. You know, 100 years from now, nobody that's here will be here unless they figure out a way to live forever, which I don't even know if that's a good thing. You know, AI is very cool, but it's a little scary too, you know, if you start thinking about it too much. So I try not to. And like I said, I'm not a guy that puts his head in the sand. I'm aware of what's going on in the world. I'm very aware of what's going on in the world. I just choose not to let it dominate my thoughts, dominate my life, make me miserable. I focus on my family, my friends, my work, nature. I don't know if you can hear all the birds out here. This is what life's about. It's not about fighting over what I consider insignificant things. And I don't mean that politics is insignificant. That's not what I mean. I just know that when I was younger, in my 20s and 30s, people talked about it respectfully. You could have a conversation with somebody who was on the opposite side of the political spectrum from you. You could have a nice conversation. It rarely happened because people didn't talk about it, hardly ever. I've said this before. All the girlfriends I had growing up in my teens and my 20s, I don't know if I ever knew a single one of their political affiliations. There are so many people now that they won't even date somebody if they're of a certain bent. It's one of the first things that come up. That makes me sad for humanity, for our country. I hope we can turn the corner. I hope we can get to where we can disagree but still be friends. I have friends that are not the same as me politically. If it ever comes up, we discuss it respectfully. We don't attack each other. We don't call each other idiots or morons for voting for whoever you voted for. Frankly, I'm not a fan of any politicians. I just think most of them are in it for themselves and don't really care about their constituents. But that's the end of my political screed. Anyway, I hope y'all get chances to get out into this kind of stuff. If you live in a big city, you know, maybe you don't get that opportunity. But if it comes up, take it. It's so calming. I'm so excited to go back to Norway again, to just spend time in the mountains, on the ocean. It just enriches my soul. It really does. It's like renewal. And I think that's something we need in the world. So anyway, I just wanted to show y'all a little piece of the beautiful country we live in. And I hope y'all have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. I really do dig it. I really do enjoy it. And I really hope the best for all of you. Have a great day. Peace. Love.